All right, so let's go over the assignment 2, which is the first part of us building an application together. So this is the description. So this tries to mimic what you might want to the setting that you might find yourself when you have a brand new project and you know the business analyst has met with a lot of the stakeholders, and they're gathering requirements from all of them, and folks are still debating on what features to have to go on this project, and what's the timeline for delivering all these features. And as part of that process of gathering those requirements, usually you're tasked with creating some proof of concept, right? Or maybe some throw up some mock-ups of a very simple HTML where folks can look at it, right, and play around with it and identify flaws, and usually in agile methodology. We try to keep the client involved in the process of requirements gathering, and we try to give them feedback right away. Right? Give them something built so that they can look at it and play around with it, break it, and get back to us as soon as possible, so that we can work that feedback into our project. Right. So this first assignment is ask you to just use plain old HTML, plain old CSS, maybe a little bit of JavaScript, okay, to create just the front end of the application, right? So that we can look at issues of navigation, right? Is the navigation okay, right? So that we can elicit feedback from our from the users, right? From the end users, whether they like the navigation. Also, they might say to move certain input fields somewhere, or change labels, or change data types, or and HTML is very easy to just move things around, right? But once you start coding it and making it for real, JavaScript and all the backend, the database, and the schema, that makes it much harder to change. So we want to elicit these feedback as early as possible, right? So that we can target those big changes early on. So we're going to be using just plain old HTML and CSS to build the following. Okay. So here we're providing you with an example data model of what we're building, and we're also providing you with a sample of wireframes that we would like to build for this assignment for the project. So what the project is a website. It's a website that allows you to build websites. Okay, something like Wix or what's another one? Squarespace, right? That allows you to drag all sorts of widgets. Right, you can create any number of websites. Each website might contain many pages. Each page is built of several widgets. Right, you can drag different widgets and then you can move them around. Right. But the focus here is that mostly allows you to create phone-based or mobile-based websites. Websites that are foremost targeting the audience of folks that are using mobile applications, right? So you can register, you can log in. At some point, we'll be able to register and log in using just plain old your Google account or your Facebook account or a third party. For now, just username and password. And as you click through these buttons, you navigate between these pages. For now, for this first assignment, we're going to be using. We're not going to be building a single page application. It's going to be an application that when you navigate from one page to the next, it literally navigates to the other page, right? It unloads the old page and loads the brand new page. The classical way you would implement a website, right? That's a classical way. We'll come back later in assignment number 3. We're going to refactor that, right? Once the client has looked at this and says, yes, I like it, we're going to go out and actually start doing it for real. right? But this first assignment, we're going to focus on making it responsive, right? Making it look pretty. We're going to focus on white spaces, making sure that things are flush, things are aligned correctly. So we're going to wear a little bit of the hat of the designer, right? Typically, you would have somebody dedicated to doing this, right, making it look pretty. But you'll notice that by using one of these libraries, such as Bootstrap, it's fairly simple to make things look professional, right, from the get-go. So we have login, register. I'm going to add an additional page this time around. We'll call it the home page. Note that there is no home page here. Okay. This one describes it. I'm going to change a little bit the description. I'm going to add a first page here, a home page, right? That you come into the home page, and then from the home page you can then log in if you want, right? So they're just that wrinkle, which we'll be working on it together today. If you log in or register, you go to your profile page. In your profile page, you can change. You can set other information such as your first name, last name, other private information, maybe email, maybe a URL or something like that. And from here, you can navigate to the websites that belong to you. If you go to the websites, you have a portrait view and a landscape view. Let's keep it like this for now. And they're implemented in the following pages, in website list.html and the same page. And as you flip it, right, between landscape and portrait, it expands, right? It takes up the entire width of the page. And it allows you to create new pages or navigate back. Also notice that the plus sign allows you to create new pages. Notice that each website has a cog next to it that allows you to navigate and edit that website, right? That you can change the name of the website, view statistics about that website, or just add a brand new one. If you click on plus, it navigates to a new website new, that allows you to, for now, you can add just the name of the website. Right? Later on, we'll add some more stuff in here. So the name of the description, if you click on OK, it navigates back to the list of pages. Eventually, this will list the brand new website you just created. Okay. For now, it will be static. Right? So again, all of this is going to be static. Right? It's not going to actually work. You're just going to be able to navigate between these pages here. These are all going to be hard-coded. Hard-coded links. Right? If you click on plus, it goes to new, and the input fields are empty. Right? Notice that this is also responsive, and on portrait view, it just shows the input, the form. But on landscape, when you flip it, it has a right-hand side and a left-hand side. See that? On the left-hand side is exactly the same content as the list of websites. Right? So it's kind of like a list of all the websites are always on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, you have, it's like a two-thirds split. Yes? Right? So in the two-thirds, you have this form. This form becomes the right-hand side. And if you say OK, right, eventually it'll show the brand new website on the left-hand side, right, and navigate back to the list of websites, right, back to the list of websites. If you click on edit, meaning if you click on the cog, either here, right, on the cog, or you click on the cog on the left-hand side, it navigates to the edit website page. Okay, called website edit.html. See that? This one has a peculiarity that it looks exactly the same thing as the new website, but this one has values filled in. See that? For that particular website. Now, eventually, if you click on this website, you'll see the name and description for that particular website. Yes? If you click on this one, you'll have the information for that particular website. Yes? But for that, we need to be dynamic, and we can't be dynamic just yet. All of this is going to be static for now. It's going to navigate to the same exact website edit page, right? And it's always going to show the same thing. Okay, because again, it's static. Right? We don't have a database. We don't have a data model. There's nowhere for us to fetch any data. Right? It's all static for now. Yes? Right? We're only focusing on making this responsive. If you flip it, it becomes landscape or portrait. And again, we're focusing on making sure that things are aligned with one another. That there's equal white spaces on both sides. Right? That's the focus of this first week. Right? It's a prototype somebody asked you to build. And as we'll see later on, there'll be a lot of refactoring, right? So much refactoring is almost like redoing it all over again, and that's a very common thing to do in the industry. Right? Typically, when you come up with a prototype, those prototypes should be treated as what they are, prototype. Right? You just throw it away, right? You start to design the real design of the application, and in earnest, and you start from scratch. All too often, we make the error, either us or project managers or business analysts make the error of just expanding on that first prototype. Just expanding and expanding and expanding, and you have just something that was very bad design from the beginning, lots of shortcuts, right? That were okay when you had something something simple, but as it grows, you don't want to do that. Right? You want to get back to the drawing board and redesign this from scratch. Okay, that's website edit. If you click on the name of a website, so if you click on the cog, you go to the edit. Yes. But if you click on the name of the website, you'll navigate to the pages in that website. Right. Some students have suggested that perhaps a different icon would help. Maybe like a little page icon. If you click on the pages, it navigates to the icons. I'll leave that up to you. If you want to add a dedicated icon for that to navigate to the pages. But as it's required here in the assignment, if you click on the name of the website, notice that it's blue. So it's a link. It's a hyperlink. You click on it. It navigates to the list of pages. So page list.html. That lists the different pages. Now again, this list will be always the same. It'll be a static list. So no matter on which website you click on, you'll always get the same list of pages, right? For the first go around. Next week, we'll start making it dynamic. Yes? Depending on which website, you'll get the pages for that website. Yes? Right? But again, we don't have a data model for that just yet. Here, notice the color scheme. Sometimes I use blue, sometimes I use gray. It doesn't have to. Yours particular doesn't need to follow my color scheme. It does have to follow that it needs to have a good contrast, right? That whatever the background color you choose and the foreground color, there's a good contrast between the color scheme. But you're free to choose your own color scheme, right? What some students do is that they'll choose one color for the website, one color for the pages, and yet another color for the widgets. Totally fine, right? If you prefer to, that's also somewhat useful for end users to kind of give them a clue on where are they on the website, right? A color scheme that tells them to, hey, we're doing this now, right? Puts them in a different mode. That's a good idea. That's up to you. It doesn't have to follow my color scheme. Also, some students ask, hey, how about this checkbox? Could it be instead of a piece of text, like OK, right? That's OK too. If you prefer to use text as opposed to these icons, that's fine as well. Or maybe a back button here, like a cancel. If you would prefer to put a cancel there, that's OK too. Yes? The actual content that I have here doesn't have to be exactly that content. It could be something else, some lorem ipsum of your choice. All right? Doesn't have to match exactly. It has to have some content, right? But not necessarily what I have here. Notice that all throughout there is an icon at the bottom, right? That allows you to jump back to your profile page, jump back to your profile. From anywhere on the website, you can click there and it navigates you back to your profile. Okay. Then we have, so So if I clicked on a particular website, I get the list of the pages for that website. Same thing, if I click on the plus sign, it navigates me to page new, where I can create a new page. And if I say OK, it navigates back to the list of pages. If I click on back, presumably it would just cancel, right? Not add the page, right? It just goes back. Right? So this is kind of like cancel button, and this is the OK save button. Yes, right. Notice that if I click on the cog, instead it navigates to the edit page. Yes. Notice that I don't have a portrait version and a landscape version, right? But it is implied that just like here in the edit page and on the new page, right? On the new website and the edit website, the pages should behave the same way. If you flip them over on a landscape, right, you should have the list of the pages on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, either the new page or the edit page. Make sense? Right? It is implied that if I put it in landscape, right, you have the 1/3, 2/3 split again, right? Where you have on this one, the landscape version has on the left has the list of pages, and on the right it has the edit, and here the left-hand side has the list of pages and it has the edit. Eventually, on the edit page, as you click cog on each one of these, the right-hand side changes. Right? It loads the details for that particular page as you click through the different pages. Right? So you interact with the left-hand side, it updates the right, which is a very common user interface paradigm. Yes? Right? Any questions there? Yep. Okay. So next, if you click on a particular page, on the name of a page, again, these are hyperlinks, it navigates to the widgets on that page. Right? And the widgets on that page can be different types of widgets. Some of them could be, large headers, right? Some of them could be images. Some of them could be raw HTML that might contain hyperlinks. Some of them might be embedded videos. So you can have all sorts of widgets that you can drag onto the page. Yes? Right? Right now, this content will be static. Right? It will always be the same. Right? You will embed an actual video of your choice. Right? Keep it clean. Come up with some header, right, of type 1, big header, and then a smaller header. Some image of your choice, you'll embed it there. Again, keep it clean. Some text that you copy from some Gizmodo or some favorite blog of yours. On the right hand side of each one of the widgets, there's kind of like a heads-up display or kind of like a toolbar, right? That for now it's not going to do anything. Well, it's going to do very little, right? But eventually, these bars here would allow you to drag the widget around. You just move the widget up and down, right? Drag it left and right. Reposition it wherever you want. Okay. That's not due this week. That's due the following week. We're going to use jQuery to do that. But for now, we're just going to focus on how to display this, for instance, on top of the background image of the background widget, whatever widget it is. Yes? And then the cog, if you click on the cog, that's going to navigate you to an editor that allows you to edit that particular widget, right? Now, since each widget is different, each widget is going to have different attributes. Yes? For instance, the image is going to have a URL. Yes? But the header doesn't. Headers doesn't have URLs. For the video, YouTube video is going to be an iframe, right? So it's going to have another URL, right? So depending on the widget, you'll have different editors, right? So if you click on the cog on the YouTube video, it'll navigate you to widget youtube.html, right? To be able to edit it, okay? If you click on the image cog, it'll take you to widget image.html, which is a different editor. See that? It's different editors. They all share a couple things the same, right? They all have a name. All widgets have a name. All widgets might have a piece of text, right? But the image widget has a URL, has a width, and has a file upload field, right? That allows you to select an image for upload. All right, we'll do image uploads a little later, right? For now, we'll just put the input field in there. YouTube should allow you to copy and paste the URL and select the width. What else? For the heading, this heading over here, these are headings. It'll allow you to just click on the name, the text, and the size. This is a drop down. See this over here? It doesn't look like a drop down. It's not a text area. It's a drop down. You click on it and it drops down 6 values: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right? What else? So we're going to just focus on those 3 widgets for this first assignment. Okay? We'll be adding new widgets as we progress. All right? Okay. What else? Here is the navigation captured yet again. So everything we just talked about navigating is captured here again graphically. So you first come in. The only difference here is that I need to update this image, this diagram. We're going to add one additional page here, a home page, right? It's going to be the landing page. So when you come in, that index page is going to drop you here in the home page. From the home page, you can click on login, and then it navigates to login, or it navigates to register. Okay, from the home page, right? I decided to put the home page because it's a requirement in the project, right? And since if we don't do it in the assignment, then it'll be kind of, well, how do you do it on the project? Okay? So that will let us practice on the home page. Right, so if you click on a login link, you go to a login. You can either register or cancel. Or if you do login, it goes to the profile page. If you click on logout, it brings you back to login. If you edit the profile and you say OK, it'll stay in the profile page. And some students have suggested that a better navigation would be that when you log in, you directly go to the list of websites. I think that's it's legitimate. I think it makes sense. If you prefer to do that, that's fine. Okay. If you prefer that once you log in, the very first thing you want to see is the list of websites, that's okay. Yeah, I think that makes also sense. Nevertheless, from anywhere, you should be able to navigate back to the profile. Yes? Right? And from the profile, you should be able to get back to your websites. Right? So I'll accept it either way. Either you land on the profile after login, or directly on the list of websites. Right? Right, so if you go to a website, you see the list of websites. You can create a new one. It takes you to a new website. And if you click OK and save, it goes back to the website, or cancel. They both take you back to the list of website. You can always go back to the profile from anywhere. You can go back to the profile from anywhere. Okay. Right now, you'll notice that there'll be a lot of code that is repeated over and over in all these pages, especially the header, the footer. Right, it's going to repeat it in lots and lots of places. Right. Eventually, in the next assignment, we're going to take all those common pieces of code and put them in reusable pieces of content, right? That we can then just inject or include. But for this assignment, it's not required, right? To be able to do that kind of dynamic part, we need JavaScript, and so we're not looking at that just yet. So yes, I know there'll be a lot of redundant code, right? That we'll need to refactor a little later. So again, so if you click on a website, you go to the page the list of pages. If you click new, you go to new page and you cancel page. If you say I want to edit a particular page, right? If you click on the cog, it goes to the edit page, and you're done. If you click on a particular page, it goes to the list of widgets, and here is where you can have. Oh yes, I guess I skipped something. If you click on plus, because I want to add a new widget, Right? If I want to add a new widget, it takes you to a widget chooser. Okay? What widget do you want to add? Right? Right now, we're just supporting 3, which is a header, right? An image and a YouTube, right? But you know, we can you can imagine any number of widgets that could be really useful here, right? For integrating with all sorts of things. Maybe like a PayPal widget, you can just drop in there, or you can drop in repeaters or data tables that you connected to a database, right? It goes out to a database, does a query, comes back, and it displays a result set, right? I mean, all sorts of really cool widgets that you can put in here, right? Shopping carts, and that's what these other websites do, right? That allow you to build websites. They just allow you to add tons of really useful widgets. Anyway, if you click on after you go to the widget chooser, if you click on image, it takes you to widget image, right? If you click on YouTube, it takes you to the YouTube editor. If you click on header, it takes you to the widget heading editor. Make sense? Right? And when you say OK on any one of them, if you say OK or cancel or delete, right, on any one of them, it takes you back to the list of widgets. Yes? Yeah, show all of them, right? But the only ones that really make sense right now are header, image, and YouTube, right? Later we'll add HTML, text input, and a couple more in the assignments to come, right? Also, we're going to add to the image editor a browser for all the images that you've uploaded so far, right? For instance, if you want to reuse an image, right, you've already uploaded it and you want to reuse that image, so there has to be a way for you to select an image that you have already uploaded it. We'll also add the capability of searching for images online from just Flickr or from Google Images, right? So that you can type in a search item and it comes back with all sorts of images that match your criteria, and then it'll come back with a URL for that particular image, right? And then it gets embedded locally. Right? But for now, right, it's all fake, right? For this first assignment. Right, so that's what this is saying, right? That if you click on edit, it'll go to the chooser, and depending on which one you choose, it'll go to either choose widget. It'll either go to the header, image, or YouTube, right? Or if you click on edit, it'll show depending on which one you clicked on, right? Okay. This table here is the same exact information, but in table format, right? If you click on login, it takes you here. Blah blah blah. Notice that these are all the files that are required, right? And they're all listed at the top. They're all listed here, and they're categorized per entity. Right? What are the various entities that we're manipulating? We're manipulating users. We are manipulating pages. We're manipulating websites. We're manipulating widgets. And for each one of them, we need CRUD operations. Right? We need to create, remove, update, delete users. Create, remove, update, delete websites and widgets and pages. Right? We need to create all those operations for each one of them. But also, we need to be able to manipulate the relationships between these, right? For one user, each user will be associated with 0 or more websites, and each website will be related to 0 or more pages, right? And each page will be associated with 0 or more widgets. Yes? So there's lots of one-to-many relationships here, right? And here we try to capture them in this diagram, right, where you have a person. I think this should have come out from here, not from person. So a developer has 0 or more websites. Each website has 0 or more pages. Each page has 0 or more widgets. Each widget can be of any type. It could be a header widget or a label widget or a paragraph widget. So here is a base class that is capturing all the base attributes, and then you have these specializations that extend the data model adding their own peculiar pieces of data depending on the type of widgets. Yes, right. This is another. Ignore this part over here, right? This assignment is part of a bigger assignment where not only could you do the layout of the page, but you could also associate behaviors, right? If you click here and you do this and the other, something executes, an event gets triggered, and some code executes, right? So that's this part, right? Being able to generate all sorts of events from either the website or the page or the widget, and there are different operations of different data types, but ignore that piece. Okay. All right. Let's see what else. So at the end, the okay, you got navigation. So styling. So make sure that you're using some library, some CSS library, such as Bootstrap or Materials. Make sure that the various data, the various input fields are of the correct type, depending what you're asking for. If you're asking for dates, make them dates. If you're asking for numbers, make them numbers. If you're asking for emails, make them email. And we'll see how to do that in a minute. So as much as you can, as much as the technology allows you to do, to follow and to strongly type your data, your pieces of data, right? Text area should be at least 3 rows high. The file field should be of type file. It should allow you to navigate to a piece of file. Some of the input fields will need some default text that I am providing, but you can use your own default text. The input field should use a class that styles it so that is responsive, right? That takes up, behaves like a block as opposed to an inline. So I'm saying if you're using a different library such as Materials or Foundation, then I'm saying equivalent. So in Bootstrap you use form control. In Materials you use something else. In Foundations you use something. Whatever the equivalent is on that library. Also use a placeholder, meaning notice that I guess I didn't. Oh yeah, I did it for some. Notice that here, see that all these input fields have a placeholder, right? Meaning you have a kind of grayed out piece of text that gives you a hint on what information we're asking for, right? So provide placeholders everywhere, okay, where appropriate. What else? We're asking you to buttons and links should look like buttons and links. Tables should be styled and should be responsive if you're using tables. I don't believe we're using tables in this first assignment, but we are going to be a little later. So just remember, tables should be responsive, meaning if they don't fit on the page, the table itself has to be scrollable. You can scroll the table, but not necessarily the entire page, right? So the table should be scrollable in its own little div. Also use all sorts of icons and glyphicons. Bootstrap has a whole bunch of images and whatnot, but Font Awesome it's an industry open source set of icons that are very useful. Make sure you have nice white spaces everywhere, and we're going to disable pinch to zoom. By default, pinch to zoom is not disabled. Browsers support pinch and zoom. The phones will also support that. We're going to turn that off. Make sure to turn it off. What else? Let's see. So we're going to be using Bootstrap or whatever CSS library you want, but any styles that you select yourself or that you create yourself, put them in a dedicated styles.css file, or any JavaScript of your own, put it in its own app.js, right, under JS. Okay? Deliverables. So we're not using OpenShift, so I'm removing that. We're using Heroku, right? Is anybody using OpenShift? Good. Right. So we'll stick with either Heroku or AWS. Anybody using AWS? All right. Anybody not using Heroku? Woohoo! Okay. Tag it when you release. We're gonna tag it or create a release called assignment 2, right? Do not create a directory and work on assignment 2 in a separate directory. Just keep everything in the same assignment directory, okay? And as you reach your a landmark or a stable point in your application, you'll just create a release, right? Name it assignment 2 or 2.1 or 2.3 or whatever, if you had to make any changes. And then you can just keep working on the same directory. And we can always use GitHub to backtrack to whenever you submitted it. Yes? So don't create separate directories for each assignment. Blackboard, just again, we're going to ask you to submit the URL to your GitHub and your online URL. Online web URL is this URL right here. Yes? It's this right here, this URL. Okay, that URL that points to Heroku. Okay, this top level direct context URL. So please make that available for us to come real quick and start looking at your assignment. All right, any questions so far? All right, let's stop this.